Hi, third graders. If you were able to join us for our lesson this week, thank you very much. If you were not able to, no worries. Here's the lesson that we talked about. It's about staying organized or becoming more organized. Let me share my screen with you and I will show you the presentation that we looked at and we'll go from there. So what does it mean to be organized? And I'm going to tell you, this is a work in progress for me as well, because those of you who know me well know that I do struggle with this from time to time. So if any of these sound like you, oh man, I left my homework at home again. Or this might be you, I know that library book is here somewhere. Or the permission slip for the field trip, of course I took it home. Do I know where it is? Well, or one more. We had a project due today. If any of these sound like you, and some do sound like me from time to time, then there's some room for improvement in the area of organization. So what does it mean? I keep saying this word. And today we're going to look at 5 different areas. One is your backpack or book bag. One is your desk or your workspace. The use of a clock or a timer. Basically, do you organize your time well? The use of a planner, which is a very important skill, especially as we get into older grades. And my hair is in the way, driving me crazy. And then a special spot. Do you have a designated work spot at home? In your packet that you received from me at the beginning of the year, it looks like this, the pretty rainbow one. This page is in it. And basically, it's asking you to reflect on your organization, to self-assess. So there are 5 areas that we just talked about, and you simply rate your area as a 1, a 2, or a 3. So you can pause the video and take a look at these areas. Is your desk organized? 1, not really, not at all, loose papers, trash. 2 is in between, and 3, everything is exactly where it needs to be. So pause the video while you rate yourself for desk, backpack, the use of a planner, your spaces at home and school, and how well you organize your time. Okay. And now we'll break those areas down now that you're back. Take a look at this desk. What do you notice about it? Yeah, anyone who looks at this is probably going to think, this person needs a little help. So having an organized desk, we know what it's not, but what it is that pencils, markers, crayons, they're in some kind of case or bag. Your binders, your notebooks, your books are closed, and they're kind of in an organized stack. And your papers are inside of folders or binders. They're not just shoved in. 0 trash. Okay. Look how easy it is to find things in a desk that is organized and doesn't have lots of extra stuff. A planner. Now, boys and girls, you might call it an agenda. At STAR, I believe we call it an agenda. You will get it when we return to in-live classes when you come just to the building. But if you don't have one right now, figure out something. The planner is so important to students and to staff. I have a planner that I use every day of my life. Every time that you have homework, boys and girls, write it down in your planner or your agenda or your calendar, whatever you have at the moment. Use something. If you have supplies that are needed, write those things down too. Do you need certain textbooks? Do you need certain folders or binders or worksheets? Write down due dates. When is it due? Especially the big projects, like a book report or something that might take several weeks. Keep in mind, when is it due? And then look at your planner. Some kids are fantastic about writing it down, but then they go home and they never look at it. So make sure you pay attention to it. Now look at the backpack. I know what you're thinking. Holy cow, that's a mess. So backpack, think of your own or your book bag or whatever you call it. Your backpack or book bag should have pencils and supplies like markers, crayons, whatever you have, in a case or a smaller pocket so they're not just loose all over your bag. Your binders, notebooks, and books should be closed and stacked so you're not ripping out pages, bending things, trying to dig through things. Papers inside of binders and folders. And I know it's one more step. I know, boys and girls, because I struggle too. But take the paper, take 5 seconds and put it in the folder or binder in which it belongs. And then anything else you brought, stick it in there neatly. And once again, zero trash. If it doesn't belong in there and you don't need it, get rid of it. And your binders, I know I have one. I won't take a long time to show you, but all my lessons for the year are in my binder, and I have them by grade level. So I can easily find what I need, pull it out, and go on with my day. Because it's one less stress that I don't have to deal with. So get yourself organized. And if you need a binder or need something, let your family know or reach out to me and I can help you with that. Special spot. So if you don't yet, make sure you designate or design or decide on a spot in which you do your work. It doesn't have to be a desk. If you do not have a desk, it's okay. But have that spot, make sure there is good light because you want to be able to see your work and you don't want to strain your eyes. Free from distractions. You know what that means, right? A lot of us don't do well when there's things like video games going on in the background or the TV is blaring or your little brother or sister is playing. So find a space where it's quiet, where you can focus. And this is funny, I love this one. Comfy, but not too comfy. So a place where you can sit up. You don't want to be laying back or laying on your stomach doing your work. Be able to sit up, but not too comfy where you want to fall asleep. And back to school. When we are probably going to go hybrid, back and forth. Your back to school spot, where will you keep things that you need to go back to school? So in the morning when you're rushing around, you're not like, oh no, where did I put my homework last night? Oh no, where's my library book? I don't even know where my backpack is. Make sure you have a spot that you put in the evening, all your stuff. So in the morning you can grab and go. Okay, I always have my computer, my bag, everything. I place it in a chair by the kitchen table. So I grab it when I leave in the morning. Organizing your time. For me, this is one of the most challenging because it's not just a paper or a pencil. It's basically your life. You need to start using a clock or a timer. There are times when you have to know, how much time do I have to spend? What time is my next Zoom lesson? When is my baseball practice? So make sure you start learning to use a clock, use your time wisely and stay on task. Some kids say, Mrs. Taylor, my ELA work, I wrote, it took me like an hour to write a paragraph. Well, were you really working the whole time and staying on task the whole time? Or were you just a little distracted during that time? Focus on one thing at a time. This is one of my little, my little hiccups. I might start one task and then say, oh, I need to do this too. And I'll jump over to another. Stick to one thing, get it done, and prioritize. Sometimes we want to do the most fun thing first, but what we should do first is the most important things. Okay, so prioritize means do the most important things first. And if you've got a big project, make sure you do the things in the right order. Don't be skipping around doing this and then doing that and saying, I wonder what I should do next. Check it, make sure you're doing things in the right order. So just a few quick practices. Let me know if you think these kids are organized or not so much. Okay, this is about Emma. Before she walked out the door each morning, Emma asked herself, what do I need to make sure I bring to school today? You got it. She is being organized. She's thinking ahead. What do I need? How about Christina? Christina knew she was supposed to put her papers in her folders, but she didn't want to take the time to put them in the correct folders, so she just stuck them wherever was easiest. Now, she might be saving time in the short term, but she's going to spend a lot of time trying to find those papers later when she doesn't know what folder she put them in. Check out Isabella. Isabella loved talking to her friends during passing time, which is kind of like that morning time. So she usually just threw her stuff in her locker without thinking, so she would have more time with friends. Can you imagine if she was throwing things in her locker and every day she just kept throwing? Imagine what that locker would look like. Now, if you don't have a locker, this could be your, maybe we're talking about your closet. Okay. Jamie. Jamie was always rushing to get packed up for dismissal. So she just shoved all the papers on her table into her backpack. Ay, ay, ay. Can you imagine the mess in there? So take the time. Maybe if you feel rushed, start a minute or two earlier, getting yourself organized and packing up. Max, this one cracks me up. Max's backpack had a nickname, the Pit of Doom. Everyone knew that things went inside the backpack and never came out. Not a good thing. So if this sounds vaguely like your backpack or book bag, you've got some work to do. Oliver really used his planner. I love this one. It took him a few extra minutes each day to write in it and check it, but he decided it was worth it because it meant he never forgot anything. Oliver's rocking it. So taking the extra time, writing neatly, then checking it and making sure he had what he needed. So my loves, we filled out that survey earlier. And if you didn't, do it now, where you kind of looked at your areas of organization and found your strengths and the things that you're still struggling with. And I want you to write an action plan for just one thing. I'm not going to ask you for all of them unless you want to. If you want to have a growth mindset and be like, oh yeah, Mrs. Taylor, I want to do it all, go for it. But I'm saying for you, if you only do one thing, find one of the areas with your lowest score. That would be a 1 or maybe a 2. And decide, what can I do to be more organized in this area? Is it your desk or your work area? Is it the use of a planner, agenda, or calendar? Is your backpack a hot mess? Is your workspace at home, does it need some little bit of help? Or your time? Are you bad about wasting time, getting off task, missing your Zoom lessons? So figure out what you need the most work with and design a plan to help you reach your goals. That is all I have, third graders. I hope you found this helpful. If you need anything at all, please reach out to me and I am there for you. Thanks, everyone.